Today is the 25th of October 2022. We are very grateful to have with us again Bhante Adhibalo, known as Phra Goh. He was born on July 14, 1985. Bhante had his Bhikkhu ordination in the year of 2008 at Santi Forest Monastery, Johor. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore and has been conducting our weekly Tuesday guided meditation since July 2020. This week we are continuing on the subject of Vassa and Kathina. So after this, Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking our 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now let's compose our minds, put our palms together and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence. So first, pay respects to the Buddha by giving 3 bows. First bow, second bow, third bow. Then we do the opening chanting, homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācāra vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Suramēraya majjapamādātāna vīramani sikkhapadang samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So good evening to everyone, and tonight we are continuing this topic on the Kathina. So last week we talked about the precursor, which is the Vassa, the conditions arising to the practice of observing the Vassa or the rains retreat during the 4-month rains season. So there's a 3-month of rains retreat. We talked about the timing, and we talked about a bit of the Kathina ceremony. So we are now at the part 2 of the monk, the second monk of the chant. So the first monk is basically introducing the concept, how the Kathina is being laid, the preconditions of spreading the Kathina. So I call spread because it's to open up And Kathina, we haven't talked about what is a Kathina. So Kathina is actually a wooden device to hold up the rope. So currently, no one, I haven't seen a real Kathina before. I would guess this Kathina looks more like a cloth hanger. Those portable kind of cloth hanger. Yeah? It's to hang the rope, and all the monks can hand sew together. So that is the purpose of the Kathina, to spread out the Kathina so that you can spread out the cloth so that all the monks can like situate around the cloth to sew. Huh? So that's my guess. But anyway, I'll talk more about it later. So we talk about the 5 privileges once the Kathina is being executed properly. So next. So these are the 5 criteria for the monks once they finish the Kathina ceremony, and the monks sort of agree to it. Okay, next. Okay, so the second monk would be just like proposing, who should be nominated to receive the Kathina kind of cloth or the Kathina robe. So that's the chant for the second monk. Okay, next. Okay, so today we are going through something new. The third monk will continue to chant. Of us here, Venerable so and so is the senior. So they don't nominate on the spot. All these are being discussed beforehand or way beforehand. So the monks have the time to rehearse the chanting. So all these are being discussed behind the scenes. So they already nominated the monk. So Venerable so and so is the senior. He is learned, one who remembers the Dhamma, who remembers the Vinaya, one who instructs, urges, rouses, and encourages his fellows in the holy life. So basically somebody worthy of receiving the cloth. Being the teacher or preceptor of many, he is one who teaches and expounds to them. He is also capable of spreading the Kathina without spoiling any of the disciplinary requirements. Okay, so spreading the Kathina robe also has many rules. Yeah, many rules. In order to receive the 5 privileges, there are many rules. Like if you attend this ceremony halfway, you cannot ponteng halfway. You cannot, you cannot attend the ceremony halfway and walk off. Once you walk off, the 5 privileges are being discarded. Or if you go to some other place, not your place of range residence, to conduct this ceremony, you also won't have these 5 privileges. So there are several criteria. I think that this entire community wants to give this Kathina cloth together with its accessories to Venerable so and so. And then when the Kathina is spread, this entire community will rightly give its approval. Is it pleasing to this community to give this Kathina cloth together with its accessories to Venerable so and so, or is it not? So this is the announcement, and monks will respond. It is pleasing, Venerable Sir. So that's for the third monk. So they nominated a particular monk for it. And the fourth monk is basically to seal the deal. Okay, then fourth monk will recite, if the giving of this Kathina cloth together with its accessories to Venerable so and so is pleasing to the entire community, it would also be good by means of these announcements to give Venerable so and so this set of 3 robes, which has come into being as part of the accessories of the Kathina cloth, without a regard to the order for receiving range retreat cloth. So interestingly, the Kathina cloth is the white cloth, and then there is announcement to give the Venerable another set of 3 robes. So sometimes people if you want to give the full set of rope, which already pre-manufactured, that's also fine. So which is mentioned here by the fourth monk, which come into being as part of the accessories of the Kathina cloth. So the completed 3 set of rope is considered as accessories, not the Kathina rope. So it's up to the monk whether they want to sew the the white cloth into a new robe again, or he can just use the accessories, which is the completed set of robes. Okay, without regard for the order for receiving rain's retreat cloth. As for Kathina cloth, even if it were given by announcement, it would not be effective. So may the community make this transaction resolution. We now give it to Venerable so-and-so by means of a motion and seconding announcement that is irreversible and fit to stand. So the fourth monk is proposing that the accessories and the Kathina robe to be given to this particular monk, and then the seconder, which will be later, another 2 monks will chant the motion, seconding motion. So the rest of the monks will agree, right? Very good, Venerable Sir. So next. So this is the motion. So this like really seal the deal to end the Kathina ceremony. So there'll be 2 monks to chant this. So they'll chant, Venerable Sirs, may the community listen to me. This Kathina cloth has a reason for the community. If the community is ready, it should give this Kathina cloth to Venerable so-and-so to spread the Kathina. This is the motion. Then they repeat again, Venerable Sirs, may the community listen to me. This Kathina cloth has a reason for the community. The community is giving this Kathina cloth to Venerable so-and-so to spread the Kathina. He to whom the giving of this Kathina cloth to Venerable so-and-so to spread the Kathina is agreeable should remain silent. He whom is not agreeable should speak. So most of the motion, like even in the reciting of the Patimokkha, the monks' rules and precepts, if there's like someone breaking the precept or not pure, they should speak up. If they didn't break the rule, then they should remain silent. So the monks will just continue reciting all the few hundred precepts and carry on the ceremony. Okay, then the third paragraph, this Kathina cloth is given by the community to Venerable so-and-so to spread the Kathina. This is agreeable to the community, therefore it is silent. Thus do I hold it. Right, so the monks remain silent most of the time throughout the ceremony, and thus is the end of the Kathina ceremony. So this is the ceremony. Yeah. So after this ceremony, then there is the making of the robe. What do the monks do with the white cloth after that? Right. So we move on to the next one. Okay. So these are like the criteria of how the Kathina cloth can be made. So if you look at the picture at the back, so this is like the modern day of doing the robe, or the monks using rulers and measurement to draw, mark out the lines, cut it into strips and pieces, and sew them together. Right? I will tell you the reason why you need to cut those strips and pieces later on. So this Kathina cloth, the first condition has to be unsoiled. So it has to be a white cloth, clean, not dirty. Kathina cloth come to be made when it's allowable is unsoiled. So this is the first one, has to be clean. Second point, Kathina cloth to be made out of pieces of cloth. So it can be made of rag ropes or, that means unwanted rope. So it can be out of rags, or if a shop doesn't want it, somebody throw it away, then you can use it. So basically that's the Kathina cloth. And the third one, Kathina cloth to be made without insinuation, without roundabout talking. That means when the monks sew or cut the cloth, they should do about it in a peaceful manner, in harmonious manner. So this is the third criteria. That means it has to be serious. Fourth, Kathina cloth comes to be made if it is not temporary. Kathina cloth has to be made if there is no postponement. So this cloth, not temporary. That means the monk wearing it should determine to wear this as an official set of robe. So the recipient of the Kathina cloth is not like I wear for one day, the next day I throw away. Not like that. So we remember we have the 5 privileges. We can accept as many robe cloth as we want, and we can relinquish those the robe. So even with the 5 privileges, the Kathina cloth is not temporary. That means at least it should last throughout the 4 months, or probably wait until next year, then they receive the new Kathina cloth again. And what else? No postponement. No postponement. Sorry. That means they don't delay. That means they have to make the cloth on the spot. They have to sew the robe on that particular day itself. So after the Kathina ceremony, they need to sew and dye the robe. Kathina cloth comes to be made if it is not to be abandoned. Yeah, so they have to wear it, they cannot abandon it. Kathina cloth comes to be made if it is made allowable. Allowable means the conditions are fulfilled. The monks have stayed in this rains retreat, and therefore they can have the Kathina ceremony. That's why it's allowable. So non-allowable would be like holding Kathina ceremonies in places where there's no place of rains retreat residence. So that is not allowable. Okay, next. Kathina cloth comes to be made if there is outer cloak. Comes to be made if there's upper robe and there's inner robe. Right, so these are the 3 set of robes. Okay, so basically they need to complete making the 3 set of robes. You cannot make other kinds of robes. Sometimes we have other kinds of cloth, like blanket, belt, some other things, right? So we have other kinds of robe or cloth. So we are not supposed to make that. We are supposed to make these 3 things. The outer cloak. Outer cloak would be the winter wear, I presume. The double layer robe called the sangati, and the upper robe is which is most of the monks are wearing during in the temple most of the time. And the lower robe is the inner robe is the sarong. Okay, then Kathina cloth comes to be made if 5 parts or more than 5 parts are cut out, are hemmed together on that same day. So and that's the rule. You need to cut on that day and sew on that day. Some people may choose to cut it beforehand because the work is too tedious. But by right, you need to cut it on that day itself of the ceremony. Okay, so Kathina cloth comes to be made if the making is by an individual. And if Kathina cloth comes to be quite properly made, and if one gives thanks for it standing on the boundary, Kathina cloth thus also comes to be made. And thus, monks, does Kathina cloth come to be made? Okay, so this sounds a bit confusing. Okay, so the cloth has to be made it is making by an individual, and that individual has to be part of the boundary. So the boundary means during the Kathina ceremony, all the monks are seated together. So that's the boundary. So if they are outside the boundary, then they are not considered an individual inside the boundary. So very specific. Okay, next. Okay, so this is a description of Kathina. So if you look at the picture on the left, this is the modern day equipment, which is a sewing machine. So in the past, 2,500 years ago, there's no sewing machine. So they use hand sew. So basically, we can sort of visualize how does the Kathina frame look like. So this is the Buddha's description. I allow a Kathina frame, cords for the Kathina frame, and that a rope be sewn having tied it down at intervals there. Yeah, so Kathina frame includes mats, etc. to be spread on top of the frame. So basically it's like a cloth hanger. Yeah, cords are strings, just like maybe a guitar cord or some musical instrument cord. So you tie on like a cloth hanger, like strings. Strings used to tie cloth to the frame when sewing a double layer rope. Yeah, so the cords are strings to help to hold up the rope. So a Kathina frame should not be set up on an uneven place. So these are like some of the rules pertaining setting up of the Kathina frame. So basically, modern day Kathinas don't have any Kathina frame. It's extinct equipment, ancient technology. So maybe you might find it in museums. No, nowadays I don't even find it in museums. So nobody knows how a Kathina frame looks like. So everybody sews it using sewing machine. Next. Okay, so why are the cloth cut into pieces? So there's a rationale. In those days, the monks, ascetics, can even get robbed in daylight. And the robbers want the robes of the monks. The robbers want the robes of the monks. So the idea by Venerable Ananda was to make the robe look like devalue. So to devalue the robe, they need to make it tattered and torn and like a beggar. So they need to patch it here and patch it there. So the whole idea of making it to those this pattern, this squarish pattern, is to resemble patches. So you look like a beggar, no? So the robe is not valuable. But nowadays they sew it so nice until, until it looks so valuable. So that's not the intention. But anyway, even in the Buddha's time, there were monks who used this framework to sew very nice looking robes with this pattern until ascetics from other faiths want to exchange this ragged robe with their fine quality cloth. So they barter trade. They use good quality robe in exchange for ragged cloth sewn by monks. So ragged cloth sewn into this pattern, wow, looks very nice. And they want it. So this is the issue. So by right should look ragged, and nobody wants a robe. So that is the whole idea. Okay, so times have changed and the robes look very nice now. Next. So eventually the white piece of cloth, how to get its color. So Upatissa asked this question, right? So these are the colors, basically any colors you can find in the forest. So the most simple answer would be in our precept would be the Vinaya, the Patimokkha mentioned three colors, green, brown, and black. But over here, this Mahavagga extend to fruit dye colors. So you have all kinds of root dye, stem dye, bark dye, leaf dye, right? So there are more colors. So very colorful. So the whole idea is like, how you boil tea bags. So if you boil a sachet of red tea, then the water will turn red, right? If you boil green tea, then the solution will turn green. So that's the whole concept. So you take these dyes, you boil in the water, then the water turns the color, and you place the white rope inside the color solution. So that's how you get the color. So that's how you color the ropes. So that's the traditional way of doing it. But nowadays, there's chemical dyes that come in the form of powder, and you just dip it like making coffee. Like you just put the powder into boiling water and you dip the rope inside and you get the color. So that's the coloring of the rope process. Okay, next. Okay, any questions so far? That's the end of the explanation of the Kathina, the ceremony, the procedures, making of the robes, right? Anyone has any issues? Yes,
Thanks very much,
Upatissa.
Bhante, for the explanation.
Hmm.
I listening to the your explanation, I recall a sutta from the Majjhima Nikaya. I think it's the first 10 or 20. There's a sutta called the simile of the cloth, isn't it?
Hmm.
About
Okay.
the white cloth. Okay,
Hmm.
if it's a, if the white cloth is not pure, it's not clean. Okay, then when you soak it into a dye, the dye will not be absorbed properly, and
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
but when the piece of white cloth is pure and very clean, then it will soak up the dye very easily, and it becomes very nice.
Yeah, so that's where the simile came from, the analogy came about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So it
which
comes
is,
from the
of course, this is a simile about, if you are, well developed in sila, then your samadhi will be, will be very nicely developed, and your panya will be likewise, isn't it?
yeah, good analogy. So that's for the monks, because the target audience were monks, right? So it's easier for them to understand because it kind of relate to their daily life. So anyway, down here, nobody dye their own clothes. Yes, Roy, you have something?
Bante, I got two questions.
Okay.
I think first question was, I think one of our panel, I think one of the last week, there's one question about the different colors, okay, of the robes. I think you have said that is food. So is that other than it symbolize the color of the foods, the trees, the nature, right? What are the other symbolic term for the color of the robes? During the Kathina, because you can see a wide variety. Then my second question,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
will be, pardon me, Pande,
Hmm.
will be the one that I think there is so-called inverted comma a belt around the waist of
Yeah.
the venerable. So maybe just
Yeah.
give a bit of maybe is that a belt, or I'm sorry, what is that about? Yeah, that is my two questions.
Yeah,
Thank you,
there
Bante.
is a belt. So the belt is to hold up the sarong, the inner rope, to prevent it from falling off. So it's for practical use. Yeah. So that's the purpose. And of course, the different colored robes, because nowadays we have so many different schools or lineages, so they tend to try to stick to one color for any particular lineage. Yeah.
Then sorry, one more question, Bante. Sorry. Then the just asking so with the color of gray, when I say gray color,
Okay,
I think
great.
that will be of course associated with the Mahayana
Okay.
tradition, the venerables themselves too.
Yeah.
So is that one of the colors, because we can't find gray color in nature, whereas orange, all these you can find. Then how about color gray in this case?
Yeah, okay. So gray is like I mentioned in our Patimokkha, you can find things in the forest which is green, brown, and black. So black is also part of it. So if you lighten the black, then it will become gray lah. Yeah. So the whole idea of gray, if I'm not wrong, historically, if the monks from India when they spread to China, initially if they wear yellow robes, they offend the royalty. So the royal people, they find, hey, why you wear yellow color? It's a royal color. So the monks have to change to something else. So they decided to use gray. So gray is like the ash, symbol of the ashes. So the so some so there will be gray, and of course religion in the country has its ups and downs. So when certain emperors embrace Buddhism, then they start to give the monks like golden color robes and stuff like that. So have the serious situation. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the explanation, Bante. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody type something. Yeah, so they sold and joined. Yeah, okay. So some centers and monasteries, they sew and dye the cloth on the spot, which is very good. Sadhu. Anyone else want to ask anything? Who have not attended any Kathina ceremony? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean in your entire life.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't have the opportunity to attend to any Kathina, although I have the opportunity to, to ordain as a Samanera.
Okay. So at least you know the theory. So next time if you ever encountered one, then at least you know what's going on. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we go for a 5-minute break. So next lesson, which is on the 8th of November, because 1st November is a private interview, so we still have a Zoom, but not live stream, no theoretical lesson, it's more Q&A only. And the 8th November, then we go to Susan's topic, which is on this Tirokuda Sutta and on dedicating marriage. Yeah?
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, all right. So we go for a 5-minute break and see you all later. No, everyone okay? Then we can find the comfortable sitting posture. Make sure our back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. So for this Zoom session, can sit on chair. Don't have to force yourself to be on the floor and stuff like that. But if you want to sit on the floor, fine by all means. Okay, so what we're going to do, the first phase of meditation, we're doing the impurities of body. So we're going to wish all the hairs well and happy, hairs of the head, hairs of the body. May they be well and happy. So every time you think of a new patch of hair or a new image appear, you wish it well and happy. New patch of hair, well and happy. So instead of washing the robe, we are now washing the mind, cleaning the mind. Use loving kindness to, like detergent, get rid of all the impurities first. And we can be mindful of this mind calming down, or is it more agitated? If you are doing it correctly, it should calm down as a byproduct. Do not force the mind to calm down. Emphasis is on the causes, which is the right thought, wishing all the heirs well and happy. And if you find your mind relatively calm, then it's the right moment to contemplate on impermanence. And so all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of them growing and falling, repeating loop. And when it's on a loop, then you can observe the impermanence of the 5 aggregates as well. And when the hairs change, is the feelings same or changing? Is the perception same or changing? Are the mental formations same or changing? Is the attention or consciousness of that image same or changing? And we can ask ourselves, are these hairs or the 5 aggregates truly self? Or is even the self truly self? And does the self remain the same or changing with the 5 aggregates? As long as we hold on to something for more than 2 seconds, then the sense of self will kind of solidify. Okay, and we are now moving on to the second part of the body, which is the nails. Fingernails and toenails, we wish them well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of them growing and falling, growing and falling. Many loops, many cycles. And while it's looping, we can observe the 5 aggregates. And we can ask ourselves, are these nails truly self? Or the 5 aggregates? Can we tell them not to go through this birth and death? So next we can think of the teeth. We wish all the teeth well and happy. Upper rows of teeth and lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. All these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you can think of the teeth growing and falling, growing and falling. And we can loop it many cycles. Even though the teeth fall off the most twice, we can just keep repeating. Just a mental detachment exercise. And we can observe the 5 aggregates, right? How it arise and pass away together as well. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth or the 5 aggregates not to go through this birth and death? So next we can think of the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. And all the skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you can think of the skin growing and falling on the loop, many cycles. And while it's on the loop, you can observe the changing 5 aggregates. And we can ask ourselves, are this skin truly self? Can we tell the skin not to go through birth and death? So next phase of meditation, we are observing the 4 element sensations in the body. So whatever sensation appear, we wish them well and happy. No need to visualize. So these 4 elements are the earth, fire, wind, water elements. Earth represents any hard and soft sensations. Fire represents any hot and cold sensations. Wind represents any kind of movement, fast or slow movements. And water, moist or dry. So whatever sensation appear, no need to deliberately create them. Let it appear, arise by themselves. And when it appears, you just wish them well and happy. New sensation arise, well and happy. New sensation arise, well and happy. So basically it's a real-time observation, and we learn to make peace with every contact. No struggling, no fighting. When the mind sort of calm down, or you find the mind relatively calm, and we can take note of this baseline emotion, baseline state of mind. No concentration, no vipassana yet. So this is the very baseline ground zero. And we can take note of this emotion or this state of mind. Okay, and we are now going to wish all beings in all directions well and happy, above, below, and all across. No need to push the mind, just a gentle wish, and let the mind extend naturally by itself. And also no need to visualize how all sentient beings look like. When the mind extends, it will encompass all beings along the way. And we're going to perceive all beings as these elements and the aggregates. Yeah? All beings are made of 5 aggregates. So whatever sensation you can detect, near or far, we wish all beings well and happy. So no matter what happens, keep wishing all beings well and happy. So I use the same analogy of rowing the boat. Every time we wish all beings well and happy, or any kind of right thought, we are rowing the boat to our destination. And every time we do nothing or leave the mind idle, it will be drifted away by all the currents of the ocean. So all these currents are all the various sensations, all beings, all sensations, their energies, their words, their thoughts will affect us. So anytime we'll detect anything, we wish all beings well and happy. So the continuous wishing of all beings well and happy may lead to the first level of concentration. So if you experience any increment of joy, happiness, or peace, then that would indicate the first level. But if not, whatever experience, continue to wish all beings well and happy. So the whole idea is repetition. Okay, and next we are going to add some insight, and we're going to reflect on impermanence. So all sensations, they arise and pass away. All beings, all formations arise, pass away every moment, and we keep observing and reflecting on impermanence. Moment by moment, all the elements, all the sensations, how they arise and pass away. And no matter what happens, continue to be mindful of impermanence, keep rowing the boat. So the combination of loving kindness and impermanence may lead to equanimous emotion, or the fourth level of concentration. So there will be no more joy or happiness, just neutral and uplifting kind of emotion. And regardless of what you experience, continue to keep reflecting on impermanence. And we move on to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So for compassion, we wish all beings free from suffering. So we use the same non-discriminative or boundless approach. All beings made up of the 5 clinging aggregates will experience stress and suffering when they cling on to any sensation. So every moment when we detect any new sensation, we wish all beings free from suffering. So the continuous wishing of all beings free from suffering may lead to the second level of concentration. So you start to find, hey, how come this compassion have joy or happiness on? Then that's the concentrative kind of compassion. So the mundane or worldly kind of compassion will have lots of strings attached. So normally people will feel very depressing or very sad which is the definition of suffering. So we learn to recharge the mind and pull back and keep wishing all beings free from suffering. Okay, and now we add some insight, and we're going to reflect how to truly overcome this suffering, or practice true compassion, that is to practice detachment, not to cling on to the aggregates. So all these sensations, they arise and pass away all the time. We keep observing and reflecting on impermanence until we let them go. No matter what happened, keep reflecting on impermanence. Even you may think you let go enough, still not enough. Continue to maintain this detachment by reflecting on impermanence. And the combination of compassion and impermanence may lead to this state of mind called the perception of infinite space. So if you do not feel the equanimity from before, but a kind of spaciousness or blankness, and that's the experience or the sensation of space. So it's quite lacking of the four elements. So space is a kind of element by itself. And regardless of what you experience, continue to reflect on impermanence. And we move on to the third sublime state, which is appreciative joy. And we are going to rejoice in the accomplishments of all sentient beings. And so basically any kind of merit, any sentient being experience something new, detect any sensation with right reflection, we can rejoice with all sentient beings. So every time you experience something new, then you can keep rejoicing. And rejoice with all sentient beings. The continuous repetition of wishing or rejoicing with all sentient beings may lead to the third level of concentration, which is denoted by the emotion of happiness. And regardless of what you experience, continue to rejoice with all sentient beings. Okay, so we add some insight, and we're going to reflect all beings will eventually be separated from what we have achieved. So all perceptions, all memory are impermanent. Right? We can observe all these experiences, they appear and they disappear all the time. And we keep reflecting on impermanence every moment. So in the month of Kathina, we can keep rejoicing, but when we give, we also rejoice without strings attached. So impermanence is one of the contemplations. And the combination of this appreciative joy and impermanence may lead to the state of mind called the perception of infinite consciousness. So it's no longer like the equanimity or the space like before, but a sense of wholeness, or the self like expanding and encompassing the space. So this consciousness is also an element by itself. So there's fire, wind, water, space, and consciousness element. So that awareness or that being. And again, whatever you experience, continue to keep reflecting on impermanence. All these sensations are just byproduct. Emphasis is on impermanence. All the things you experience are just passing sceneries. And they're there due to certain conditions, due to certain reflections. Once we stop the causes, then they are gone. And when we cling on to it, then the sense of self will be there. Yeah? So which one is the true self? Infinite consciousness is the true self, or the space is the true self, or the equanimity is the self? Okay, so we are going to, before we conclude, same gentle reminder that whatever we do, standing, sitting, walking, lying down, we can always be mindful of the sublime states or the impermanence. Yeah? So with that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, but informally still can generate right thought. Okay, any questions, problems, issues? Okay, if no issues, then we can do the concluding chant. Okay, Anumodana, dedicating merits. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakantu loka sasanang etavata ca amhehi sapadang punya sapadang sabe deva sabe bhuta sabe sata anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. And dedication of merits to departed. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Aspiration. Imina punya kamena mami bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu. Yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so that's the And for tonight, any announcements, Terence? Okay, so like mentioned, the last of this Tuesday session will be on the 15th of November, before all of us go for retreats or holiday or whatever it is. So see you all next week, and good night.